Why I
So
Married a
this is part
Nigerian
three,
Man.
why I married a Nigerian man. In the last part, part two and part one, if you haven't watched that, go watch part one and part two. Come back to part three. So in the last part, I was telling you that we went out to a very fancy restaurant, and we went live that night. We went by ourselves. We didn't invite, the roommate. We didn't invite, his sister or her girlfriend. Now let me take this time to tell you a little bit about the sister. The sister, she's married with children. I think she has like 3 or 4 children, and she's married, and she's also gay. She would come over to her brother's house and spend time with this girl, that this woman that she was messing around with. And so they would just be hanging out at the house and really not doing anything or anything like that, but just hanging out, like some type of leeches. Which it didn't bother me that much until the sister would come up to me and ask me for different things, and I would be like, no, I don't, no, like, no, I don't have it. And it was starting to like weigh on me, really get on my nerves. Fast forward to us leaving the place where we went out to eat at, and we were live. We were having drinks. We ate good. We just had a nice time. I guess they were watching the live together, and they were upset that we didn't invite them. So as we went, we were on our way back to the house. Izegi left his key there, and he said that he was going to call the guy to let him know that we were on our way back. Well, we kept on calling him, and he didn't pick the call. And finally, when we got back to the area, because we probably were about an hour out, we got back to the area. We just went to this lounge place that's in the compound, just to wait until he got back, because he was saying basically, I'm not in the area. I'm not coming back anytime soon. So we waited at that lounge and for about maybe at least an hour and a half. He finally shows up, and we were close enough just to walk to the house. He finally shows up, and he's not remorseful. He doesn't, he seemed like he doesn't even care. So I go and start, taking my shower, getting ready for bed and stuff like that. And then I hear them out there arguing, and I'm like, what is this? What's going on? I walked out there and I was like, what's going on? And he's telling me all of this stuff about Izegi, and he's, trying to make, trying to belittle him and trying to shame him and stuff like that. And I was like, I had already, saw the type of person that he was. And so I knew that there would be no lengths, no length that he would go to get his point across. So it just went into one ear and out the other. I was basically done with him. So the next day we had decided, that we were going to go ahead and leave. And I had, he wanted me to go meet his parents anyway, so we were going to leave, go to his parents, and then we weren't going to come back. So we went to Mega Chicken just to get us something to eat before we headed to the mother's house. And we weren't there that long, probably like 20-30 minutes at the most. We got back to the house, and I was the first one to enter our room. And when I got there, I was like, oh my God. I mean, everything, all of my stuff was out of the suitcase, out of the wardrobe. Our room was ransacked. They came in and threw everything, the bed, everything was neat and, tucked away before we left. Everything was ransacked. So I asked, the first thing I could think about, like, where is my visa and my passport? So Zeki, I couldn't reach it because it was on the top shelf of the wardrobe. So I told Zeki, I said, look up there and see if my passport, my visa's up there. And thank God it was there, but nobody was there. Nobody was home at the moment. So when we get to our, we get through, getting our room and stuff together. He calls the roommate, and he's asking, what happened, and why did he do the room like that? And the guy again was very remorseful, and he had the nerve to say, oh, so you go out and you enjoy yourself and you don't bring me along. And I'm like, what kind of foolishness is this? So I got to thinking, I was like, wait a minute, what is going on with him? I said, babe, what is going on with him? Because this don't seem normal. And he was like, he's never been like this. He said, I think, he's jealous, and he just thought that, when you came here, since you're American, that, that you were going to be, we were going to, include them in everything, and you would have gifts and stuff for them. And I said, well, where did he get that from? I said, where did he get it from? Because, that's not, that's nothing that we ever talked about. He said, no. He said, no, we never discussed that. And I don't know why he's acting this way. He said, but you know what? I'm through. He said, I'm done. I'm done with it. So I said, let's just go ahead and go over to your parents' house, and then we'll just, figure out where we're going to stay after that. As we began packing up our things, his brother came, to help us, because Ziggy, decided that he was just going to move out that day. Now, this was, again, a shared unit that was part of the company that they worked for. These two men worked together, and the company supplied the unit for them. And so it was a shared room unit, and you can tell it was set up like roommate style and everything. So he didn't have to leave, but he said, you know what, just, he's showing me who he is. Let me just go ahead and leave. So we, later on that evening, we headed out to his mother's house, and we got over there, and I was kind of, feeling some type of way. I was already upset that somebody went through my stuff, and I didn't know at the time if they had taken some stuff from me, and I'm sure that they did, but I couldn't think of it right away. But later on, I found out that it was just petty stuff that she took. It was just perfume and jewelry and stuff like that. And I knew that it was the sister that did it. But anyway, we were headed over there, and I had a whole another thought process. I was thinking about how the family was going to receive me. Ziggy is the oldest son. He's the first son, and he has a lot of responsibility. He shared. Again, he kind of shared that with me about, what his responsibilities were. So anyway, as we got over there, and my nerves and anxiety began to, pick up and stuff like that, he did reassure me that everything was going to be okay. The way his family received me, though, was really surprising to me. And I didn't expect it, and I didn't know how I felt about it. It was totally different. I've met parents before, but again, I'm older than him. There was a lot of, our relationship was not anything traditional at all. So I had a lot of stress on me at that time, and I really didn't know if it was going to be okay. Even though he reassured me, I still had some things that I was concerned about. But the thing that surprised me the most, we'll go to part 4. I'm going to tell you the thing that really surprised me when I met his family, and I was not expecting this.